Hey guys, you already know where this is going, don't you? Another cozy little bedtime story, whispered like an old friend leaning close in the dark. But this one isn't going to tuck you in. This one wants to leave the light on in your room for the rest of your life. And you probably won't survive this. But hey, at least you'll know why sleep feels dangerous afterward. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, do me a favor. Drop a comment with your location and your local time right now. I want to see where in the world you're listening from, and more importantly, how close it is to midnight where you are. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The clearing looks ordinary enough, the way a patch of grass always does when it opens its arms between walls of pine. You're standing outside the visitor's center, the hose dribbling water into thirsty flower beds, when you notice him. At first it's almost funny, this man exploding out of the tree line like a kid who held his bladder too long. His stride is frantic, straight line, no hesitation. You think bathroom, of course. You think, when you gotta go, you gotta go. But he doesn't go in there. He stumbles toward the concrete restroom block, pauses just long enough for the heavy metal door to slam open and shut again, then bursts right back out. Not relief, not even hesitation, just pure bloodshot panic. His head jerks around, scanning, as if the trees themselves are predators. Then he runs for the visitor's center. You remember you left it unlocked. A mistake, a small thing, but you'll regret it the way people regret not latching a door before a storm hits. He doesn't knock, doesn't slow. Glass shivers in the frame as he flings it wide, disappears inside, and slams it shut so hard your teeth click. You shout you were closed, it's after hours, but the words are nothing to him. He fumbles the lock with shaking hands, snaps the deadbolt into place. Through the glass, you get a better look. He is ruined, sunken eyes, skin gone waxy gray beneath dirt and sweat, clothes shredded like he's been sprinting through thorn and rock for days. His hair clings in wet tangles. He looks like someone who's lost more than a trail. He's lost the line between survival and collapse. You reach for the handle because you think bears, maybe bees, maybe something with teeth. You think ranger duty, safety protocol. He screams. A muffled shriek, but clear enough. No, don't open it, they followed me. That word hooks you. They, not it, not a bear, plural. The parking lot stretches quiet behind you. Not a single leaf stirs in the dusk. You glance back, expecting movement. Nothing. No paw prints, no swarm. Just trees so still you could imagine the forest is holding its breath. Inside, he staggers, bracing against the counter, checking windows, scanning shadows. He's muttering about doors that don't reach the ground, about gaps something can crawl through. Needles, he says. Needles poking through his tent walls at night, stabbing, draining, weakening. He lifts trembling hands to show you the scars, circular, raised welts, each with a puncture at the center, like a grotesque map across his skin. And here's the thing, you've seen insect bites before. Blackflies, mosquitoes, ticks, but never in this perfect pattern, never this symmetrical. He grabs your shoulders, breath rank, words spilling like broken glass. I crushed them with my hands, I swear, but they don't die right. They don't die. You reach for the phone, trying to steady your voice as you tell 911 there's a medical emergency. His knees buckle mid-sentence, his body folding to the carpet like a discarded marionette, pulse faint, breathing ragged. Clark bursts in seconds later, eyes wide. He kneels beside you, starts wrapping wounds with gauze, but he keeps shooting you that look, the one that says what did this to him. The one you don't want to answer. Hours crawl by. The hiker lies there, pale and gasping, as if the world is bleeding him into the floor. You sit in the silence, replaying his words, watching the glass doors as if something might press against them any second. Because here's what digs under your skin. You never saw what chased him. And yet, you feel watched, like there are eyes beyond the pines. Eyes that don't blink. And it reminds you of a story you once read about the Roanoke colony, vanished without trace in 1590. Croatoan carved into a post, but no bodies, no blood, no answers. Historians still debate whether they were killed, absorbed by nearby tribes, or lured by something stranger. But you can't shake the thought. Maybe it wasn't disappearance, it was mimicry. Maybe the colony didn't leave. Maybe something else took their place. That idea settles like ice in your chest as the hiker exhales a rattling breath beside you. And for the first time all night, you wish you hadn't left the visitor's center unlocked. The man's collapse should have been the end of it. A fainting spell, a rescue, an ambulance ride under flickering fluorescent lights. That's the way these stories are supposed to go. But nothing about the way his body jerks on the floor, nothing about the way his breath rattles like a loose hinge, feels natural. You keep kneeling there, hand at his throat, counting heartbeats that stutter instead of flow. The minutes crawl. Clark whispers something about dehydration, about infection, but the words feel like apologies instead of explanations. When the paramedics finally arrive, their faces betray them. You catch the flicker in their eyes, the way one EMT raises her brows, the way the other one mutters under his breath about, "Not like anything I've seen." They bundle him up, strap oxygen to his face, and cart him off like a cursed relic no one wants to hold too long. And just like that, he's gone. The echo of his voice remains, "Don't open it. They followed me." Clark puts a hand on your shoulder. "We should check the trail." You want to say no, that you're still tasting the sour fear in the man's sweat, still smelling that strange chemical odor he carried in with him. But you know Clark. He doesn't let go once his teeth are in an idea. And besides, you need to see it yourself. Need proof, one way or another. So the next morning, you hike out to the campsite near the swimming hole, Rock Ridge Trail's little jewel. You've seen it in daylight dozens of times. The clear brook, the mossy rocks, the pond where sun always seems to linger like liquid glass. But today the place feels off, as if someone scraped the shine from it. The hiker's gear is everywhere, pack flung into the dirt, food still sealed inside a canister, clothes fluttering from a tree branch. The tent gapes open, a wound in fabric. The breeze carries a smell that makes your throat tighten, acrid, metallic, but not quite decay. You steel yourself, step forward, and look inside. What you see isn't right. It's not a body, not an animal, not anything that fits into the neat little folders of your mind. It's a face, a human face, but deflated, collapsed on itself like cheap latex left in the sun. The eyes are glassy gray marbles, the nose bent inward at an impossible concave. A few wiry hairs sprout from patchy skin that gleams with oil. For one fractured moment, you think of Salvador Dali's melting clocks. Only this isn't art, it's flesh. You stagger back, retching into your sleeve. Clark arrives at your side, muttering a curse when the smell hits him. He peels the flap wider with a stick and fishes the thing out. The face is attached to a mangled body, too small to be human, too big for any bird or insect. Segmented limbs, a ruined wing, a torso that looks both insectal and mammalian at once. And yet that face. You look at each other, the unspoken question trembling between you. Is it his? Did the hiker fight something that wore his own likeness? The forest is hushed, as if listening. Clark kicks dirt over the spot, shoves the carcass under a tarp. His jaw is set, but his hands shake. On the hike back, your thoughts loop. The forest feels narrower, the shadows too deep. Every few minutes, Clark glances over his shoulder, scanning, and you realize you're both walking as if hunted. Halfway to the lot, Clark stops. Promise you won't be mad. You roll your eyes, too raw for patience. You didn't make a mask out of his face and stick it in the tent, did you? Because that would be one hell of a prank. No laugh, not even a smirk. Instead, he unzips his pack, pulls out a t-shirt wrapped around something heavy. He peels the cloth away to reveal a smooth black stone. Oval, pill-shaped, the size of a football, perfectly polished. Found it in the pond, he mutters. It's warm, alive. You touch it with one fingertip. Heat pulses through your skin, not the stored warmth of sun-baked rock, but something internal, biological. Something waiting. Your stomach drops. Clark whispers, "We can't just ignore it. This is evidence." If it's some new species. Species? Your laugh is harsh, too loud for the quiet woods. It's an egg, Clark. You brought it back. Congratulations, you're babysitting. And you think of other eggs. Of parasitic wasps laying inside caterpillars. Of cicadas emerging from the ground after 17 years, filling the air with the deafening hum of rebirth. Of myths, too. The basilisk hatching from a toad-brooded egg, or the Norse Fafnir guarding treasure that rots men's souls. Historians still debate whether the Viking tailies of shapeshifters were mere metaphor, or if warriors truly believed men could become wolves. But standing here with that pulsating rock in your hand, you realize the old myths never really die. They just wait for someone foolish enough to carry them home. You shove it back at Clark. We should have left it in the pond, or better, smashed it. But Clark only shakes his head. You'll see. We need proof. Behind you, the trees creak, as if something enormous just shifted its weight. The first night after finding the egg doesn't feel like any other night on duty. Normally, the quiet in the ranger cabin is a kind of balm. Cicadas outside, the occasional owl, the rustle of branches. But this night, the quiet doesn't soothe, it scrapes. Clark insists on storing the thing in the cooler, of all places. He wedges it inside, covers it with a t-shirt, and then, because you refuse to even sit in the same room with it, he stacks 6 cinder blocks on the lid like that'll make a difference if something decides to crawl out. You don't sleep. You drink instead. Clark joins you, which doesn't help. Whiskey neat, the burn in your chest, a small anchor against the storm unraveling in your head. He cracks a case from under his bunk you didn't know he had, cigarettes, the kind he swore he quit years ago. You take one. Smoke coils in the stale air like a warning. At first, it's almost funny. 2 park rangers swapping horror theories like kids at a campfire. You toss ideas back and forth. Maybe the face was a mask. Maybe some twin gone feral in the woods. Maybe a hiker so desperate he carved his own likeness into some creature. You laugh too loudly, drink too much, as if laughter will scrub the memory clean. But when Clark flips through the guest log, the laughter dies. His finger lands on the last 2 entries. Rachel and John from Tennessee. Checked in Friday. Never checked out. It's Sunday night. You both know the trail, a 10-mile loop, a ridge halfway through. If they camped near the overlook, they should have been back to their car by morning. Instead, their names still sit there on the page like 2 ghosts waiting to be written out. Clark closes the book too fast, like he wants to erase the evidence. Then he mutters something about sobering up being for the fishes and pours another drink. But he doesn't look at you. He doesn't need to. You're already on the same page. You're going back out there. Tonight, the decision is mechanical. Water bottles filled. Energy bars stuffed into pockets. You improvise weapons, a pickaxe, a can of bear spray. The gear feels pitiful, like going to war with children's toys, but it's all you've got. The trail swallows you whole. Red headlamps cut through the dark, cones of light flickering over roots and beetles. Every sound is amplified, the crunch of leaves, the snap of a twig, your own heartbeat. The woods are a mouth, and you are walking deeper into its throat. Clark mutters, miles before smiles, an old hiker's mantra. His voice trembles. You press on. And here's the thing about hiking at night. The forest stops pretending to be friendly. Paths twist like they want to lose you. Shadows stretch wrong, too long, too still. Even the trees feel watchful, like an audience waiting for the scene to collapse. You think about history then, about the Dyatlov Pass incident in 1959. 9 hikers in Russia, mutilated, scattered across snowfields. Some with missing eyes, some with radiation burns, one with a tongue torn out. Historians still debate whether it was avalanche, military experiment, or something far worse. But you know one thing. People don't just shred their tents from the inside unless they're running from nightmares. Clark doesn't mention the egg, but you feel it anyway. Even with the cinder blocks stacked on that cooler, it's like its pulse has followed you into the trees, syncing with your steps. Hours blur. Then the forest opens into a clearing at the base of the hill. The overlook looms above, a climb steep enough to test your lungs. You pause to drink, sweat cold against your back. That's when you see it. Light. A faint flicker from a tent pitched near the ridge. Off on, 3 short blinks, 3 long, 3 short. SOS. Your stomach flips. Adrenaline kicks. You run. Feet pound earth, headlamp beam bouncing wildly. Clark huffs behind you, breath ragged. The higher you climb, the stranger the sound becomes. A droning hum, like a helicopter miles away, or like a fly buzzing right at your ear but amplified 100 times. At the crest, you stop. The tent glows. The sound is inside. Rachel's scream tears through the night. The sound is unbearable up close. It thrums against your skull, a vibration that makes your teeth ache. The tent shudders with it, like something inside is trying to tear its way out. Rachel's voice cracks as she screams again. You shout back you're here, you're coming, but your words feel swallowed, drowned beneath that relentless buzz. You grab the rainfly zipper, your hands shaking harder than you want Clark to notice. The fabric peels back with a rasp, and there it is. Not one, several. They hang between the inner tent wall and the rainfly, wings beating so fast they blur into transparent discs. Their bodies are black, segmented, jointed like beetles. But their mouths, God, their mouths, needle-long, surgical, sliding through mesh windows with terrifying precision. You see the puncture marks on the nylon, dozens of them, red stains around the holes. The hiker's words return in a flash, needles poking through the tent walls. On their backs, sacks bulge with dark liquid that sloshes as they move. Not water, blood. When your light hits them, they retract their needles in eerie unison. Heads pivot, wings vibrate, and then, like a flock, they dart into the night, vanishing into trees so quickly your beam can't track them. Silence. You yank open the inner flap. Rachel crouches inside, clutching a half-deflated sleeping pad like a shield. Her hair is wild, her face streaked with tears. Behind her, John is sprawled unconscious, chest rising shallow and slow. Rachel stammers through sobs. They wouldn't stop, they just kept stabbing. She had to hit them away. John wouldn't wake up. You hush her, whispering that it's going to be okay. But even as you say it, you don't believe it, because something shifts in the branches above you. Clark's beam swings upward, and you see them. 2 of them perched like owls, only they're not owls. Their faces are human, your lungs lock. The bodies are insect, long, black, jointed. The wings folded against their backs shimmer in the headlamp like panes of glass. But the faces are wrong. Human features, pasted onto the carapace, too smooth, too still. The eyes stare forward, unblinking, pupils glassy like marbles. Mouths hang slightly open, revealing rows of pale gums and teeth. The face on the left could almost be John's. The strong jaw, the shadows beneath the eyes. The face on the right, Rachel. Blue eyes staring with a dull vacancy. They don't move. They only groom themselves, back legs combing over front, like birds tidying feathers. Then Rachel screams from the tent, "For the love of God, kill THEM." And that's when they move. They drop from the branch in perfect synchronization, leaves scattering in their wake. They land with a wet thud, then begin walking. Yes, walking. Not flying, not rushing, just crawling forward in jerky, insect rhythm. Their two human heads twitching side to side. You feel the weight of the pickaxe in your hands. Clark has the bear spray, finger white against the trigger. They come closer, closer, until the light hits the slick inside of their mouths. And then something worse emerges. From deep in their throats, black tendrils uncoil, snake-like, trunk-like, dripping with viscous fluid. The tendrils probe the air, searching. Your body freezes. One thought sears through you. If they wrap that around your face, if they drink from you, they'll wear you too. Clark doesn't wait. He heaves a boulder from the fire pit with a guttural roar and hurls it. The rock arcs in slow motion, striking the male-faced one dead on. Its body jerks, crumples, twitches. The female-faced one shrieks, a sound like grinding metal, and scuttles into the trees. You swing the pickaxe down, steel slicing through oily skin and bone. The creature convulses, then lies still. The buzzing returns, louder, closer. The second one is circling back. You spin, searching. Clark shouts, sprays blindly into the dark. Then weight crashes down on you. Claws dig into your back. You hit the dirt, thrashing, teeth clenched against the scream in your throat. It's on you, heavy, too heavy. You grab the wings, tear, pull, throw. It skitters across the clearing, screeching. Clark is there in an instant, unleashing bear spray. The thing convulses, hops blindly, wings sputtering. Clark leaps with both boots, stomping. Crunch, splatter. The clearing fills with the reek of blood and chemicals. You're on your knees, gasping. Rachel is crying in the tent. John is still out cold. And for a moment, only a moment, you let yourself believe it's over. But the forest is too quiet. You realize, if there are two, there are more. And the night is far from done. Rachel's sobs echo in the clearing, thin and jagged like broken glass. You want to tell her to quiet down, but you can't bring yourself to shush her. After what she just lived through, she's earned the right to cry. You crouch near the tent, peering at John. His skin is clammy, his breathing shallow. You roll him onto his side, muttering half prayers you don't really believe in. His neck and arms are dotted with perfect round welts, each with that tiny puncture in the center. Too many of them. You've seen bug bites before, but these, they look like something pressed against him with surgical intent. Rachel grips your arm. Are they coming back? You want to say no, but the word sticks. You glance at Clark. He looks away. The forest is still humming with that strange tension. Not sound exactly, more like the absence of it. You've hiked enough nights to know what's missing. No owls, no cicadas, no rustling leaves. The woods are holding their breath again. Clark pulls you aside, lowering his voice. We need to move, now. He's right. The longer you stay, the more the trees seem to lean in, as if listening. You pack what you can, strip the tent poles in shaking hands, sling John over Clark's back. Rachel stumbles beside you, clutching your sleeve like a lifeline. The trail stretches long and merciless ahead. Hours blur. Your boots strike dirt in a rhythm you can't escape. Thud, 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 like the sound of something winged hovering just behind you. You don't dare turn around. At dawn, pale light filters through the canopy. Relief should come with it, but instead you see the wounds more clearly. Raised, circular, patterned like constellations on skin. John groans weakly. Rachel winces at her own arm where new welts swell. It clicks then. They aren't just feeding. They're changing something. You don't say it aloud, but the thought won't leave. Back at base, you barely pause before checking the cooler. The egg is still there, wedged beneath cinder blocks. You can almost imagine it rattling in its prison, pulsing against the plastic walls. Clark doesn't mention it. Neither do you. You should. You should. Instead, you both collapse onto bunks, waiting for the silence to end. And it does by knocking, not at the door, at the glass. You jolt upright. Clark freezes. There's a shape outside, just a flicker, just long enough for you to see. It's your face. Your own face hovering beyond the window. The eyes dull, the mouth slack, the outline flickering before vanishing into trees. Clark doesn't see it. He asks what you're staring at. You don't answer. Because how do you explain something like that? You try distracting yourself with history. It's a trick you've learned, keeping your brain busy so the shadows don't swallow you whole. You think about the legend of the green children of Woolpit, 12th century England. Two strange children appeared from the earth, skin tinted green, speaking no known tongue. Historians still debate whether they were malnourished or if something otherworldly crept into the folklore. But the part that hooks you is this. When asked where they came from, the children said they belonged to a place where everything was green. Another world just under the surface. You glance at the cooler, at the forest, at Rachel shivering in the corner. Maybe this place has always been a thin skin stretched over something else. And maybe tonight, that skin tore. You and Clark should have collapsed into sleep. After the hike, after dragging John through the trees, after nearly being torn apart by those things, exhaustion should have claimed you like gravity. But instead the night stretches long, whiskey burning in your stomach, silence crackling around you. Clark paces. He keeps circling the cooler, brushing his hand across the stacked cinder blocks as if checking they're still there. You sit cross-legged on the floor, cigarette smoke curling in front of your face. Rachel dozes in a chair, jolting awake every few minutes, eyes darting to the windows as though expecting another face pressed against the glass. John hasn't stirred. His skin has gone from pale to almost translucent, veins standing out in stark blue rivers. Clark finally speaks. We can't ignore this. You know what he means. Not John, not Rachel, the egg. He pours 2 glasses, whiskey sloshing, hands shaking just enough to spill. We need to figure out what this is. Report it. Do something. You laugh bitter. Do something. Clark, we barely survived tonight. Whatever this is, it's older than us. Stronger. You think 2 rangers with a pickaxe and some bear spray are going to make a difference. He doesn't answer. He's staring at the cooler. The silence is unbearable, so you talk, words spilling faster than you intend, about the hiker's face in the tent, about the buzzing, about the thing you saw outside the window, your own reflection, standing where no reflection should be. Clark stiffens at that, like he wants to ask more, but he doesn't. Instead, he pulls out the logbook again, flips through it with jerky fingers. Names, dates, destinations. His finger lands on Rachel and John's entry, underlined twice in pencil now, as though underlining could anchor them to reality. Then he says it. If there are more out there, we're already screwed. Rachel stirs. Her voice is raw, broken. They looked like us. Her words hang heavy. You realize she isn't just talking about the mimic faces on those insects. She's talking about something deeper, something primal. Clark sets his glass down too hard. The crack startles you. We're going back tonight. You stare at him. We can't. We have to. If there are more hikers. Clark, listen to yourself. You stand, your voice rising. We don't know how many of those things are out there. We don't know what they want or what they're turning people into. Rachel whispers, what if John doesn't wake up? You glance at the boy slumped in the chair, breathing shallow, lips cracked. His skin looks waxy, like it's losing the battle to stay human. And suddenly, the choice doesn't feel like yours anymore. The three of you leave before midnight. Clark's pack is heavier this time. He doesn't say what's in it, but you know the egg. He won't leave it behind. The trail is darker than before. Clouds blot out the moon, your headlamp beams swallowed by the void between trees. Every sound makes Rachel flinch. You keep glancing over your shoulder, half expecting to see yourself walking there, your face floating in the black. Clark mutters to himself, fragments of thoughts, half slurred like a mantra he's trying to hold together. He says things like, "Evidence matters, and we'll know soon enough." You stop listening. You think instead about real history, about the Black Plague in the 14th century, entire towns vanishing, families locked in houses, doors marked with crosses. Historians still debate whether it was truly rats or something far stranger riding on their backs. The idea that sickness had a face, and that face kept spreading. That's what it feels like now. This isn't a trail hike. This is contagion. When you reach the base of the ridge again, the clearing looks different. Tents flattened, embers cold in the fire pit. The air hangs heavy, buzzing faintly, not from wings this time, but as if the forest itself is vibrating. Clark drops his pack with a grunt, kneels to unzip it. He pulls out the black egg, still wrapped in its filthy shirt. The surface gleams even in the weak beam of your headlamp. You swear you see it pulse. Rachel steps back. "Why did you bring that?" Clark ignores her. He sets it in the dirt like an offering. You crouch, staring. It's warm, you remember, alive, maybe listening. And you realize something. If this is an egg, it isn't alone. Eggs never come one at a time. You don't say it, not yet. But when the first wing beat trembles in the darkness, you know the forest heard it for you. The wing beats start distant, like a faraway hum of power lines. But the sound thickens quickly, multiplying, converging. Soon it isn't background, it's everywhere. A droning veil pressing against your skull. Rachel clamps her hands over her ears, whispering no, 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 no. Clark crouches over the egg, shielding it as though the thing inside is his ward. You grip the pickaxe, pulse hammering, eyes darting between tree shadows that flicker with shapes. The first one appears in the beam of your headlamp. It doesn't lunge. It just hovers there, wings shimmering with impossible speed, face blank and human, the same dull expression, the same glassy eyes. But this one isn't Rachel or John or anyone you know. This face is stranger, plucked from some unlucky soul you've never met. Then another emerges from the dark. Then two more. They hover just out of reach, like spectators at some macabre ritual. Clark whispers, "They want it." You glance down at the egg, pulsing faintly against the dirt. A slick line of condensation crawls across its shell, dripping onto Clark's boots. "Then give it to them," you hiss. He shakes his head. "No, we need proof." Rachel grabs his arm, eyes wild. They don't want proof, they want him. The buzzing swells. Branches tremble overhead. The clearing becomes a stage, and you realize you're surrounded. You think of stories then, not myths, not folklore, but history. The Tunguska event, 1908. A massive explosion flattened forests in Siberia. No crater, no fragments, just trees laid down in radial symmetry like a ripple in the earth. Historians still debate whether it was a meteor, a comet, or something stranger, something alive. What if it was an egg too? The first creature lands. Its legs click against stone. It crawls, insectal, yet that human face twitches and shifts like it's trying to form expression. Clark lifts the egg off the ground, holds it to his chest like a shield. The insect recoils. Then slowly it bows its head. And that's worse than anything else tonight, because that means recognition. That means hierarchy. Clark, you whisper. Put it down. But he doesn't. His eyes are shining, too bright, fevered. They listen to it. Don't you see? It's their queen. The creatures shift closer, wings vibrating the air. Rachel screams, clutching John's limp body tighter. You raise the pickaxe, but your arms feel like lead, because suddenly you understand. Clark isn't holding a trophy. He's holding a beacon, and every winged thing in this forest heard it. The first strike comes not from the front, but from above. A body slams into your back, claws scraping skin. You stagger forward, spin, swing wildly. The pickaxe connects with a crunch. The creature shrieks, its human face peeling back as black fluid sprays. It flutters into the dark, but the buzzing doesn't lessen. If anything, it grows. The forest is alive with them now, wings beating from every direction. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Rachel sobs, they're coming for us. But she's wrong. They're coming for Clark. He stands there, egg pressed to his chest, transfixed as the swarm circles closer. And for the first time tonight, you realize he isn't planning to run. The clearing shrinks around you. Every tree looms like a pillar in a cage, and above, the canopy writhes with wings. The hum is no longer sound but pressure, a physical weight pressing against your lungs. Clark stands motionless in the center, the egg cradled like some holy relic. His face is slack, trance-like, but his eyes are alive, burning with a fever that makes your stomach drop. Clark, you shout, though your voice feels like a whisper swallowed by the swarm. Drop it. We can't fight this many. He doesn't answer. He only turns slowly, staring at you with something that isn't entirely Clark anymore. Rachel is beside you, gripping John's limp body, her voice ragged. He's giving it to them. He wants to give it. The insects begin their descent. One by one, they peel from the branches and hover lower. Faces blank, unblinking, human but not human. They form a circle around Clark as though in ceremony. Their tendrils twitch in the air, reaching, tasting. You step forward, raising the pickaxe, but Rachel grabs your arm. Wait, and then you see why. The swarm isn't attacking. Not yet. They're waiting. The egg pulses harder, a rhythm syncing with your heart, syncing with the drone of their wings. The ground trembles faintly beneath your boots. Something inside is moving. History claws at the back of your mind, unbidden. The strange case of the dancing plague of 1518, when hundreds of people in Strasbourg danced uncontrollably for days, some collapsing dead from exhaustion. Historians still debate whether it was mass hysteria, poisoned grain, or divine punishment. But the image that always stuck with you was the vacant eyes of the dancers, moving not because they wanted to, but because something compelled them. Clark's eyes look like that now. The egg's shell begins to split. A thin crack snakes across its surface, oozing black ichor. Clark doesn't flinch. He holds it tighter, pressing it against his chest. No, you whisper. The crack widens. A wet, sucking sound fills the air. The insects buzz louder, wings vibrating in perfect rhythm, like an audience cheering their queen's arrival. Something inside pushes against the shell. A glistening limb, slick and segmented, pokes through. Then another. Clark is smiling. And in that instant you realize he isn't planning to fight them. He's planning to join them. Clark, you scream, rushing forward. But before you can reach him, the egg splits wide. A mass unfurls, wet and writhing, glistening like oil in firelight. It's larger than you imagined, too large for the egg that held it. Its wings snap open in a spray of fluid, already strong, already buzzing. And its face is Clark's. Your knees buckle. The swarm erupts in frenzied motion, wings beating, voices shrieking in a chorus of insect song. They close in, circling tighter, their tendrils reaching, brushing Clark's skin, caressing the newborn thing as though welcoming it home. Rachel screams, the sound tearing through your skull. John groans weakly in her arms, his head lolling, his eyes half open and glassy. You want to run. You want to tear her and John away and flee down the trail, but your feet stay rooted. Because you know this isn't just Clark anymore. It's something else. And it's only just begun. The face is the worst part, not the wings, slick and transparent, already beating with unnatural speed, not the glistening body, segmented and black, oozing fluid that steams in the cold air. Not even the tendrils writhing from its open mouth like snakes searching for prey. It's the face, Clark's face, not alive, not dead, but a mask stretched too tight, expression slack, eyes dull and glassy. And yet there's recognition. You swear for a heartbeat he looks at you, really sees you, and then it's gone. The swarm surges in, brushing past you in bursts of wind, wings slicing air so fast you flinch. They cluster around the new creature, twitching, bowing, their human faces shifting in eerie unison. Rachel clutches John tighter. They'll kill us all. But you realize they aren't attacking. Not yet. They're waiting. The newborn twitches, flexes its new limbs. The tendrils lash the air, dripping. It lets out a sound that makes your bones hum. A low, resonant vibration that doesn't belong in any throat, human or insect. The swarm responds instantly, wings buzzing in harmony. You stagger back, breath caught. This isn't just mimicry. It's hierarchy. You're watching a coronation. Your mind scrambles for sense, for anchor. And it lands on history again because you can't help yourself. The tale of the doppelganger, the double that heralds death. Goethe himself claimed to have seen his own double once, riding past him on a lonely road. Historians still debate whether such stories were hallucinations, premonitions, or something far stranger. You look at Clark's face, stretched across insect flesh, and think, maybe all those old omens were true. Maybe doubles don't predict death. Maybe they cause it. Rachel screams suddenly. You spin. One of the swarm has broken rank. It's moving toward her, its face dull and vacant. But its eyes are Rachel's. Blue, familiar, too familiar. It tilts its head, twitching, and for the first time its mouth moves. Lips part, teeth glisten, and in Rachel's own voice it says, "Help me." Rachel collapses to the ground, sobbing, shaking her head. That's not me, that's not me, that's not. The mimic moves closer, tendrils reaching. You swing the pickaxe in blind terror. The blade connects, splitting the face clean down the middle. The creature convulses, shrieking, black fluid splattering across your arms. It falls twitching to the dirt, limbs spasming before finally going still. The swarm reacts instantly. The buzzing rises to a deafening pitch, the circle breaking. Dozens of them descend, wings flashing, tendrils whipping the air. You grab Rachel's arm, dragging her to her feet. John is half conscious, stumbling between you. There's no thought now, only escape. You plunge into the trees. Branches whip your face, roots snag your boots. Behind you, the swarm gives chase, the hum rolling like thunder, closer and closer. Headlamp beams shake wildly, shadows multiplying into monstrous forms. You don't look back. You can't. Because you know if you see Clark's face again, stretched across wings and mandibles, you'll freeze. And if you freeze, you die. The trail twists downward. Your lungs burn, legs shaking. Rachel stumbles, nearly pulling John down with her, but you yank them both upright, half dragging, half running. The buzzing closes in, so loud it feels inside your skull. Then, silence. Just like that, the swarm stops. You stumble to a halt, panting, every nerve screaming. Rachel clings to John, trembling. The forest is quiet again, too quiet. You raise your headlamp slowly, and that's when you see them. Dozens of faces, human faces, hanging from the branches like lanterns, pale and slack, eyes unblinking, watching you. You freeze. Your light trembles across those faces in the trees, catching each detail. Lips slightly parted, glassy eyes staring down, skin pallid as wax. They don't sway with the branches. They don't blink. They just watch. Rachel whimpers beside you, clutching John so tightly he groans. You can't even bring yourself to hush her. Because you're too busy counting. 10 faces. No 12. 15. All sizes. Men, women, children, not masks, not corpses, something else. One face twitches. The lips peel back, revealing teeth. Too many teeth. The jaw stretches too wide as if testing itself. Your chest tightens. This forest has always been full of eyes at night, but not like this. These aren't predators hiding. These are predators waiting. Clark's voice rises in your memory, distorted by the swarm's hum. They listen to it. It's their queen. If he was right, if the egg was the signal, then maybe every one of these faces belongs to something waiting in the dark. Not dead, not alive, something in between. And if that's true, then Clark didn't just carry back an egg. He carried back a beacon. You drag Rachel forward. She stumbles, her sobs catching, but she follows. John is nearly dead weight now. His head lolls, mouth open, skin waxy. You try not to look at the welts spreading across his arms, too perfect, too deliberate. Every step on the trail feels like it echoes through the trees. The faces follow, not moving, not chasing, just turning. Watching, you whisper, don't look at them. But of course Rachel looks. She gasps, then chokes on a scream, because one of the faces staring back from the branches is hers. Blue eyes, wild hair, her. She collapses to the dirt, clawing at her own cheeks like she's trying to peel them off. That's me up there. You grab her wrists, forcing her to stop. Keep moving. It's not you, it's them. But even as you say it, you're not sure. Your thoughts splinter to history again, because when reality collapses, that's the only anchor left. You think of the Cottingley fairies, those infamous photographs from 1917 England, 2 young girls posing with supposed fairies, tiny wings shimmering beside them. For decades, experts argued. Hoax, miracle. Historians still debate whether the girls believed their own lie, or if they saw something real before faking the rest. But you remember the photos. The wings looked too stiff, too posed. The faces too flat, like masks, like what you're staring at now. The buzzing returns. Not a single note this time, but a chorus. Hundreds of wings vibrating the air. The faces in the trees open their mouths in unison, black tendrils unspooling like tongues. Rachel screams. You tighten your grip on the pickaxe, dragging her down the trail, half carrying John. The forest erupts behind you. They're moving now, not hovering, not waiting, moving. The ground shakes with their bodies, their wings slicing through air, their tendrils snapping against branches. You run, faster than you thought possible with the weight of 2 people dragging behind. Every step you hear them closer. Every breath you feel the hot rush of wings on your neck. And then an explosion of light. You burst from the tree line into open air. The overlook. A sheer drop yawns in front of you, the valley sprawling below like a dark ocean. Wind whips your face, carrying the smell of rain. Behind you, the swarm halts at the tree line, wings beating, faces glowing faint in your headlamp's beam. Dozens, hundreds, they don't cross into the open. They just watch. You realize, shivering in the wind, they own the forest, but maybe not beyond it, for now. The overlook wind cuts sharp, whipping your hair into your eyes. For one blessed moment, the swarm stays at the tree line, a living wall of wings and faces thrumming, but refusing to cross into open sky. You don't know if it's the cliff, the moonlight, or something older written into their instincts. You only know you have seconds to breathe. Rachel collapses beside John, clutching his hand as if her grip alone can keep him tethered. His breathing is shallow, rattling, and his eyes flicker open. Just barely. "John," you whisper, kneeling beside him. "Stay with us." He blinks, but his gaze is wrong, too glassy, too far away. When his lips part, only a hoarse rasp escapes. For a moment, you think he's trying to speak. Then you see it. The tip of something black, twitching against his tongue before vanishing back down his throat. You reel backward, bile rising. Rachel doesn't notice. She's too busy sobbing his name. Clark's words echo in your skull. They don't just feed, they change you. The welts across John's body pulse faintly, like tiny heartbeats, each one swelling and sinking in grotesque unison. You can't look too long without feeling your own skin itch. Rachel finally notices your horror. What? What is it? You can't tell her. Not yet, because if you say it aloud, it becomes real. Behind you, the swarm shifts, still at the tree line but restless. Their wings thrum in waves, rising and falling like a grotesque chant. And their faces, all those slack human masks, turn in eerie synchronization to watch you. Rachel follows your gaze and whimpers. Why aren't they coming? You don't know. Maybe they don't need to. Maybe they already won. Your brain, desperate for order, clings again to history. To the tale of the Mary Celeste in 1872, the ghost ship found adrift with meals still on the table. No crew, no struggle. Historians still debate if it was mutiny, piracy, or something stranger. But what chills you most is the stillness. An empty vessel, silent as if its people simply walked into the air. That's what the Overlook feels like now, a place where people vanish, where something bigger than you decides who leaves and who stays. And you're not sure which side of that line you're on. John stirs suddenly. His eyes roll, and he sits upright in a jerky, unnatural motion. Rachel gasps, trying to support him, but his mouth falls open too wide. Black fluid dribbles down his chin. "John," she whispers. He turns his head toward her slowly, too slowly, and his eyes, they're not his anymore. They're blank, glassy, unblinking. Rachel screams, scrambling back. John shudders, convulses, then lunges forward on all fours. His movements are insectal, twitching, limbs bending wrong. You grab the pickaxe, heart hammering, but your arms hesitate. Because for one split second, his human face flickers back. His eyes are his. His mouth forms a single word, "Run." And then it's gone. The swarm at the tree line explodes in sound, wings thrumming, faces twitching. They've been waiting for this. Rachel wails, torn between reaching for him and fleeing. You seize her arm, dragging her toward the trail down from the Overlook. Behind you, John's body jerks, spasms, then stills. And when you risk one last glance, you see him crawling into the swarm, welcomed like a prodigal son. The trail down from the Overlook is steep, switchbacks carved into the mountainside like jagged scars. Rocks shift under your boots, gravel sliding into the abyss with every rushed step. You half drag Rachel, who stumbles blindly, her sobs raw. The swarm doesn't follow, at least, not yet. Their wings thunder at the tree line above, a living storm cloud held back by some invisible leash. But you can feel their eyes, every face turned, every tendril twitching, tracking your retreat. Rachel keeps whispering John's name, over and over, like repetition could summon him back. You don't have the heart to tell her what you saw, that he asked you to run, and then he wasn't him anymore. Hours crawl. The forest presses closer with every bend in the trail. Night bleeds into dawn, but no light reaches through the canopy. Shadows cling like cobwebs, muffling the birdsong that should have started by now. You pause once, straining to hear anything alive. Nothing. No owls, no insects, no wind. The silence is worse than the swarm. You keep walking. Rachel's steps falter. Her skin is pale, damp, her lips trembling. When you touch her arm, she jerks. That's when you see them, the welts, dozens of them rising across her skin in the same neat constellation as John's. Swelling, reddening, each with a tiny puncture in the center. You stop dead. She follows your stare, then shrieks, clawing at her arms, at her face. No, 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 get them off. You grab her wrists, forcing her still. Stop, listen. They're bites, just bites, you're still you. But even as you say it, your voice falters. Because what if she isn't? You remember a story. Roanoke Colony, 1590. A settlement gone, homes abandoned, Croatoan carved into wood. Historians still debate whether they starved, were absorbed by tribes, or simply vanished. But the strangest theory you once read, that they weren't killed, they were replaced. The thought makes your stomach twist. What if Rachel is already halfway there? She collapses to the dirt, curling around herself, sobbing. You kneel beside her, unsure if you should comfort her or kill her before she turns. Your hand hovers over the pickaxe. Then her eyes lock on yours. Blue, desperate, human. Don't leave me. And just like that, you falter. You sling her arm over your shoulders, forcing her to stand. Together, you keep moving. By midday, the trail spits you out into a clearing you almost recognize. The Ranger Road is close now, you think. Civilization just over the ridge. Relief should surge through you. Instead, your legs shake. Because in the middle of the clearing, blocking the path, is the cooler. The same one Clark stacked with cinder blocks. Only now, it's open. The cinder blocks are scattered like toys, the lid splintered. The shirt Clark wrapped around the egg lies crumpled in the dirt, soaked black. You step closer, throat dry. The inside of the cooler is shredded, claw marks gouged deep. Whatever hatched inside didn't stay. And you realize something cold, something final. You never carried the beacon into the woods. The woods carried it to you. The cooler shouldn't be here. You left it behind at base, beneath 6 cinder blocks. You remember Clark dropping the egg inside, snapping the latch, saying it would hold. You remember watching condensation form along the sides, the faint thump against plastic. You remember the way it felt like something alive was waiting inside. And now it sits in the middle of a forest clearing, lid splintered, sides scarred by deep gouges. Rachel whimpers beside you. How is it here? You don't answer. Because the only explanation that makes sense is the one you can't bring yourself to say. The thing that hatched carried it here. A trophy, a warning, a message. You crouch, trembling, to look closer. The bottom of the cooler is coated in thick black fluid, sticky and reeking of copper. The shirt Clark wrapped around the egg is shredded, threads tangled into something that looks eerily like veins. You recoil. The trees around you creak in the windless air. For a moment, you think you hear laughter. Not human laughter, something higher pitched, segmented, chittering. History claws at you again, because your mind won't stop searching for patterns. You think of 1924, Mount Everest. Mallory and Irvine vanished during their attempt at the summit. Years later, Mallory's body was found, face down in the snow, skin preserved like wax. But Irvine never recovered. Historians still debate whether he fell, froze, or disappeared into some hidden crevasse. What if it wasn't the mountain that claimed him? What if it was something that wore his face afterward, wandering the slopes unseen? You shake the thought away, but it lingers. Rachel sinks to her knees, eyes glassy. She's pale, sweat slicking her skin, welts pulsing faintly across her arms. You kneel beside her, grip her shoulders. "Stay with me," you whisper. She looks at you, and for a moment her pupils don't contract under the light. They stay wide, unblinking, like the swarms. Then she blinks and it's her again. Your heart stutters. The buzzing starts low. A tremor in the air, faint but rising. You whip your head toward the tree line. Shadows stir, They're coming. Rachel grabs your wrist. We can't outrun them. She's right, you can't. Not in her condition. Not with the cooler here, radiating whatever signal it carries. And then headlights cut through the trees. For a second, you think it's hallucination. But the beams grow brighter, bouncing across the clearing, followed by the rumble of engines. A convoy. Black vans, unmarked, barreling down the dirt road. Tires crunching gravel. Doors slamming. Figures pour out, clad in dark uniforms stitched with a strange symbol, a circle with arrows pointing inward. Helmets hide their faces. Weapons glint under the weak sun. They don't hesitate. They move with terrifying precision, forming a perimeter around the cooler. Rachel clutches your arm. Who are they? You don't answer, because the symbol looks familiar. You've seen it before, whispered about in strange corners of the internet. SCP, secure, contain, protect. And suddenly, the swarm silence in the trees feels worse than the buzzing. Because maybe it isn't fear holding them back. Maybe it's recognition. The men in black uniforms move like shadows with a script. No hesitation, no wasted gestures. They fan out across the clearing, weapons raised, their circle tightening around the ruined cooler, as if it's the only thing that matters. You stagger back, pulling Rachel with you. She's shaking violently now, her skin fever-warm beneath your grip, welts glowing faint in the beam of your headlamp. One of the figures notices you, but doesn't aim his weapon. He just gestures sharply, palm down. Stay put, don't interfere. Rachel clings to you, whispering through cracked lips. What's happening? Who are they? You don't answer. You don't need to. You've seen enough strange forums, half-buried conspiracy threads, whispered acronyms. SCP. Secure. Contain. Protect. The kind of group that isn't supposed to exist. The kind of group that shows up when things crawl out of nightmares and refuse to crawl back in. One of the uniforms kneels beside the cooler. He drills a small hole into the top, fast, efficient. Another passes him a clear tube. They slide it in. A sound erupts inside, wet, frantic thrashing, something slamming against the walls. Then a high-pitched screech so sharp it makes your vision blur. Rachel cries out, clutching her head. The man doesn't flinch. He signals, and a third figure connects the tube to a tank. Liquid flows, clear at first, then bubbling as it fills the cooler. The screech cuts off mid-note. Silence. The man raps the cooler twice with his knuckles. Satisfied. And just like that, they seal it, wrap the entire box in duct tape, layer after layer until it looks like a grotesque present. Then two of them heft it into the van, muscles straining, as if it's heavier than it should be. You stagger forward, rage and relief colliding in your chest. Wait, don't just take it. You don't know what's out here. The nearest uniformed man turns. His visor reflects your face, pale and trembling. His voice is calm, almost kind. We know. Then he turns away. It's absurd, standing here with your lungs raw and your heart pounding, watching them work like it's routine. Like they've done this before. Like this forest isn't unique, but just another line item in a long list of horrors. You want to scream at them. You want to demand answers. Instead, you just stand there, because part of you doesn't want the answers. Because if there's a team trained for this, if there are protocols and symbols and duct-taped coolers, it means these creatures aren't new. They've been here longer than you, waiting, growing. Rachel slumps against you. Her skin burns. Her pupils flicker wide again, refusing to contract in the light. She whispers something, barely audible. It's inside me. Panic seizes your throat. You shout for help, for someone to notice her. Two uniforms break from formation, rushing over. They kneel, pry her from your arms, their gloved hands clinical and firm. One shines a light into her eyes, The other rolls up her sleeve to inspect the welts. They exchange a look behind their visors. No words, just a look. Then, without hesitation, they haul her up and march her toward the van. You lunge forward. No, she's not one of them. She's still her. A hand clamps your chest, firm, unyielding. The man who stopped you shakes his head slowly. You don't understand. Your stomach twists because he's right. You don't. The van's idle, engines low and patient. The uniforms keep moving with precision, disappearing into the tree line in groups of 3, carrying packs of gear you don't recognize. Some carry devices that hum softly, lights blinking in colors you've never seen in the forest before. They vanish into the woods, like they've done this countless times, like they already know where the nest is. And you stand there in the clearing, alone now, except for John's absence and Rachel's cries muffled by a van door. The swarm doesn't follow, but you know they're watching. Engines rumble low, headlights piercing the fog that has begun to roll through the clearing. The black vans sit like predators at rest, and the men in uniforms move with the precision of surgeons, each action deliberate, efficient, practiced. You stand a few paces away, fists trembling at your sides, while Rachel's muffled cries bleed through the van's steel walls. You can almost picture her inside, strapped down, her blue eyes wide with terror. You shout again, louder this time. She's not one of them. You can't just take her. No answer, not even a glance. The forest feels like it's leaning in, waiting. The faces in the trees don't move, but their stillness is worse than any swarm. You can't tell if the SCP uniforms don't notice them, or if they've made peace with the sight long ago. One of the men approaches you at last, visor glinting in your headlamp. He doesn't speak until he's close enough that you can see your own reflection warped across the curve of his helmet. "Step back," he says, calm as an anesthesiologist. "For your safety." You spit the words back. "My safety." You don't get it. They're in the trees, they're in us. For a long, terrifying second, he doesn't answer. Then he tilts his head slightly. "We get it. That's why we're here." And with that, he turns away. You're left with the silence of engines and the low hum of equipment. You watch as a group returns from the tree line, hauling a crate between them. The crate shakes. Something inside thrashes against its walls, the sound muffled but unmistakable. They strap it tight, wrap it in more duct tape, and load it into another van. Your stomach twists. This isn't extermination. It's containment. You think of history again, because when logic frays, history is the only thread you cling to. You recall the Winchester Mystery House in California, built endlessly with staircases to nowhere and doors that open into walls. Sarah Winchester claimed she was haunted by spirits of those killed, by the rifles her family made, and building was the only way to confuse them. Historians still debate if she was mad, mourning, or something in between. But you can't help wondering now, maybe she was trying to confuse something else, something wearing faces. Maybe people like these uniforms had already been there, behind the curtain, patching holes in the world before anyone noticed. The operation winds down. More duct-taped crates loaded, more silent glances traded. No joy, no fear, just efficiency. Finally, one of them gives a signal, the detonator man. You catch the glint of a device in his hand, a thumb resting lightly on its switch. The others file back into the vans. Engines rev. The detonator man looks to the tree line, then to the sky, then presses the switch. The ground bucks beneath your feet. A concussive boom shakes the clearing, rattling your bones. A plume of dirt erupts from somewhere deep in the forest, the shockwave flattening ferns and rattling branches. Rachel's muffled screams cut off inside the van. The detonator man nods once, satisfied. He climbs in, and the vans drive away. You're left standing in the settling dust, your ears ringing, your heart hollow. The cooler is gone. Rachel is gone. John is gone. Clark is gone. The forest is still. Too still. And for the first time, you realize that maybe the silence doesn't mean safety. Maybe the silence means you're the only thing left worth listening to. The vans disappear down the dirt road, taillights swallowed by the trees. Their engines fade until the forest is quiet again. Too quiet. It's as though someone turned the world's volume down to zero. You're alone. The detonator's tremor still buzzes through your bones, the ground underfoot faintly shivering like it remembers. Dust hangs in the air, glowing in the faint sunlight that finally manages to bleed through the canopy. The explosion should have scared animals out of hiding, birds, deer, anything. But nothing stirs. It's not silence, it's absence. You hug your arms tight, headlamp beam darting uselessly across the tree line. The faces are gone. The branches sway, bare and innocent. If you hadn't seen them before, you'd swear the woods were empty. But you know better. You start walking, slowly, feet crunching over gravel and leaves. Each step feels like it might crack the hush in half, call something back out of hiding. You whisper aloud just to hear a human voice. It's over, it's over. They killed the nest. The words don't help, because you remember the way the uniforms moved, precise and calm. They weren't surprised. They weren't shocked. They were thorough. And when the detonator went off, they didn't flinch. This wasn't the first time. They weren't here to discover. They were here to clean up. The trail bends, leading you back toward the Ranger Road. Your legs ache, your throat burns, but stopping feels worse than moving. Every shadow looks like it's holding something back. And if you pause too long, you're sure it'll step out wearing your face. Halfway down the switchback, you stumble across something blackened and smoking. The blast crater. The soil has been churned into ash, trees uprooted and flung outward like snapped matchsticks. A pond once lay here, feeding the brook and the swimming hole. Now it's just a raw wound in the earth, steaming. And yet, at the center of the blast, untouched, lies water. Clear, glassy, impossibly still. A perfect circle, no wider than a kitchen table, reflecting the trees above. You creep closer, pulse racing. The soil around it is scorched. Everything else is gone. But this pool remains untouched. You crouch, peer into it. And the reflection staring back isn't yours. It's Clark's. You stagger back, heart in your throat. The reflection shifts. Clark's lips curl into a faint smile, the water rippling though nothing touched it. You slam your eyes shut, whispering no, no, no. When you open them again, the pool shows only you, shaken, pale, wild-eyed. You want to believe that's all it was. A trick of light, shock. But the words of the uniformed man echo in your skull. We know. History gnaws at you again. You think of Pompeii, 79 AD, where volcanic ash preserved people mid-scream. Historians still debate whether they died instantly or suffocated slowly as pyroclastic flow consumed them. But it wasn't the preservation that always haunted you. It was the expressions, their mouths open, eyes staring. Caught in the moment, they realized the world was ending. That's what Clark's reflection looked like. Not just a face, a warning. You back away from the pool. You don't run. Running feels like giving it permission to chase. You just walk, one step, then another. The forest doesn't follow. But as you reach the Ranger Road and see the empty gravel stretch back toward base, you realize something that makes your stomach turn cold. They told you the nest was gone. But if nests can be killed with bombs and duct tape, then why did they bring vans? Why did they take people? Because nests aren't the problem. Queens are. And queens don't die easy. You don't remember walking back to the cabin. One moment you're on the Ranger Road, gravel crunching under your boots. The next, you're staring at the weathered siding of base. the door hanging slightly ajar. The place should feel like sanctuary. Instead, it feels gutted, like the air inside has been hollowed out. You step in slowly, pickaxe still clutched though your arms ache. The smell hits you first, burnt dust, damp wood, and something underneath, faint but sharp, coppery sour like old blood. The logbook lies open on the desk. You don't remember leaving it that way. You walk closer. The pages flutter in a draft you can't feel. The ink looks smudged, but not by water, by hands. Smears of black streak across the names. 2 names are violently crossed out, Rachel and John, but Clark's isn't. His entry still sits there in neat handwriting, the date circled. Your stomach twists. You slam the book shut. The cooler is gone, of course. No cinder blocks, no duct tape, no sticky residue of black fluid. Just an empty patch of floor, cleaner than it should be, like something scrubbed it away. You sit heavily on the bunk, staring at that spot. This was never containment, never cleanup. It was ritual. They said the nest shouldn't bother you anymore. But you keep hearing their tone, clipped and rehearsed, like a line read too many times. And you realize they weren't telling you it was safe. They were telling you to stop asking questions. Your skin itches. You scratch absently at your forearm, then freeze. Raised bumps. Small, red, circular. You tear your sleeve back, heart pounding. 3 welts. Perfectly round, each with a dot in the center. No, you whisper. No, no, no. You press your fingers into them, trying to convince yourself they're just mosquito bites, allergic reactions, anything but what you know they are. But the skin throbs beneath your touch, almost pulsing. You slam your fist against the wall, the cabin trembling with the force. History worms its way into your thoughts again, unbidden. You think of the Voynich manuscript, that centuries-old book filled with strange plants and undecipherable text. Historians still debate whether it's a hoax, a lost language, or the ramblings of an alchemist. But one image haunts you, the drawing of women bathing in pools, tubes connecting them like veins. It always seemed absurd before. Now it feels like prophecy. Because what are these welts if not ports? What are these creatures if not scribes writing on flesh instead of paper? The cabin creaks. You freeze. Through the window, something shifts, just a flicker. You step closer, trembling, pickaxe raised, and you see it, your own face, pressed against the glass. Eyes wide, mouth slack, staring in at you with the dull vacancy of the swarm. Your breath catches. You don't move. Neither does it. Then, slowly, impossibly, its lips curl into a smile. And in the silence, you hear Clark's voice in your head, not remembered, not imagined, but spoken right now. The queen doesn't die. She waits. You back away from the window, pulse roaring in your ears. The face outside doesn't move. It just hovers there, fogging the glass with each breath, smiling faintly as if amused by your fear. You stumble over the bunk frame, nearly dropping the pickaxe. When you look again, the window is empty, just night pressing against the glass, black and blank. But the impression of your own face lingers in your mind, sharper than a photograph. You whisper to yourself, it wasn't real. The welts on your arm throb, pulsing with each heartbeat, contradicting you. You sit on the bunk, rocking slightly, trying to anchor yourself. You want to believe the uniforms, want to cling to the detonator's thunder as proof that the nest was destroyed. But nests are replaceable. Queens aren't. And if Clark's voice was right, if the queen doesn't die, then the explosion wasn't an ending. It was a warning shot. The scratching starts at the door, soft at first like branches in the wind, then sharper, deliberate. Scritch, scritch, scritch. You grip the pickaxe tighter, holding your breath. The sound moves higher, dragging across the doorframe, then to the walls, circling. Whatever's out there isn't trying to get in. It's reminding you it can. You remember a story from college. your one folklore class before you dropped out. Tales of changelings in 13th century Europe, fairies who would steal infants, leaving behind uncanny replacements. Historians still debate whether it was superstition or a way to explain illness. But one detail stuck with you. People swore the replacements would scratch at walls at night, restless, mimicking human sounds. You'd laughed at that then. Now you don't. The scratching stops. Silence swells in its place, heavy and absolute. You dare to move toward the door. Every step feels wrong, like walking into your own funeral. You press an eye to the peephole. Nothing, just trees. Relief trembles through you until a reflection blooms on the glass. Not outside. Behind you, you whirl around. And there it is again. Your face standing in the corner of the cabin. The body is wrong, taller, thinner, limbs too long. But the face is yours, slack and vacant. It tilts its head, twitching slightly. You choke on air, stumbling back. The pickaxe feels like a toy in your hand. The thing blinks once, slowly, and in your own voice it whispers, "You're not you anymore." You scream, swing the pickaxe with everything you have. It slices through the corner, splinters flying. The thing is gone. No sound, no trace, just empty air. You drop to your knees, sobbing, clutching the pickaxe like a crucifix. The welts on your arm pulse faster, hot and angry, as if mocking your resistance. When you finally drag yourself upright, dawn has begun to seep through the trees. Pale light pools on the floor, and for one hopeful moment you think, maybe the day will burn this all away. But then you see your reflection in the cracked mirror above the sink. Your eyes are wrong, too wide, too glassy. You smash the mirror with the pickaxe before it can smile back. The shards of mirror glitter on the floor like teeth. Your breath fogs the broken glass, and every fragment reflects a piece of you, scattered, distorted. Some shards don't reflect you at all. They reflect something else, faces you've seen in the woods, Rachel's terrified eyes, John's slack jaw, Clark's fever smile. You kick the shards away, heart pounding, but the images don't vanish. They just sink into memory, waiting. Outside, the forest sways. The morning wind should bring birdsong, rustling, the chatter of life. Instead, it carries silence, an oppressive hush that feels heavier than noise. You push out the door, pickaxe still clutched in one hand. The welts on your arm burn under your sleeve. You don't look at them. The trail into the forest yawns wide. You've walked it hundreds of times, every dip and bend memorized. But now it feels like an unfamiliar mouth, trees arched like ribs above you, shadows flexing like muscle. And the faces, they're back. Not perched in branches this time, but deeper, half glimpsed between trunks. Shapes wearing human features, twitching, waiting. You know better than to stare, but their glassy eyes pull at yours like magnets. They don't move closer. They don't need to. They only need you to know they're there. You whisper under your breath, "I'm not part of you." The forest doesn't believe you. Neither do you. History surfaces again, because your brain can't stop scratching at old wounds. You think of doppelganger folklore in Germany. Seeing your own double meant death was near. Goethe himself once claimed to glimpse his double riding the same road in reverse, a perfect reflection. Historians still debate if these were hallucinations or a cultural way to explain coincidence. But you've seen enough now to know, doubles don't warn of death. They replace it. The shadows twitch. At first you think it's the wind, but no, the trees are still. The movement comes from the ground. Figures crawl out from the underbrush. Half human, half insect. Mandibles twitching, wings folded against segmented backs. Their faces are too familiar. One wears John's slack expression. Another, Rachel's wide-eyed stare. And one wears yours. It shambles forward, jerky, unnatural, yet the face is exact. The same nose, same lips, Same scar above your brow from falling off your bike as a kid. Rachel's mimic had spoken once, begged for help. You know what's coming. Sure enough, its lips part, and in your voice it whispers, "We've already taken you." The welts on your arm throb in agreement. You stagger back, swinging the pickaxe in blind fury. The doubles don't flinch. They just stand there, twitching, waiting for you to realize the truth. You can't kill what's already inside you. The wind shifts suddenly, carrying a new sound. A whisper, low and many-voiced, like dozens speaking in unison. Not words exactly, just echoes of human speech, fragments stitched together into something almost language. The doubles tilt their heads, twitching in time with the murmur. You run. Branches claw your arms, roots trip your boots. The welts on your skin burn hotter with every step. The forest doesn't resist you, it funnels you, guiding you deeper. You know it, you feel it. And when you break into another clearing, gasping, knees buckling, you understand why. Because waiting in the center, kneeling before a still pool of water, is Clark, or what's left of him. His back twitches with folded wings. His arms end in claws. But his face is still his. He lifts his head slowly and smiles. Clark rises slowly from the pool, water cascading off his twisted body. His spine arches with an insectal crack, wings unfurling just enough to glisten in the pale light. But his face is still Clark's. Smiling that same tired ranger's smile you'd seen 100 times when he returned from patrol. Boots muddy, thermos empty. Thought you'd make it further, he says. His voice is raw, distorted, but undeniably his. Your grip tightens on the pickaxe. You're not Clark. He chuckles, the sound warbling, insect clicking layered beneath human tone. Maybe not. Maybe more. Maybe what Clark was meant to be. The welts on your arm pulse, sharp and insistent, as if agreeing with him. Rachel's scream echoes in your mind, John's vacant eyes, the swarm's glassy faces, all of them pieces of Clark now, folded into whatever stands before you. Why? You manage to croak. Clark tilts his head, twitching. Why not? We've been here longer than your maps, longer than your trails. You're the guests. We're the natives. His smile widens too far, lips stretching until the teeth beneath look serrated. And guests don't stay forever. Your brain, desperate, latches onto history again, anything to delay the collapse. You think of 1692, Salem, where villagers claimed to see specters tormenting them. Historians still debate whether it was hysteria, ergot poisoning, or manipulation. But one detail chills you. Witnesses said the doubles could speak with familiar voices, copying every inflection, exactly like Clark does now. The pool behind him ripples though no wind touches it. Reflections writhe, faces staring up from the water. Rachel, John, dozens more. Their mouths open in silent screams. "Want to see her," Clark croons, stepping aside. The water shifts, revealing Rachel's face beneath the surface, hair floating like seaweed, eyes wide with terror. Her lips form a word. Help. You stumble forward despite yourself, pickaxe lowering. The reflection's hand rises from the water, not breaking the surface from beneath it, reaching for you. You stop inches away, breath shaking. Clark leans close, his breath sharp with copper. Go on, touch her, join her, you've already started. He gestures at your arm. The welts glow faintly, veins spiderwebbing from them like roots. Your stomach lurches. You stumble back, gagging, slamming the pickaxe haft against your arm as if pain might undo it. Clark laughs, mandibles twitching. Still fighting. Good. The queen likes when they fight. Stronger bodies. You swing the pickaxe at him, screaming. The blade cuts through his shoulder, black fluid spraying hot against your face. He staggers, but doesn't fall. He only grins wider, mandibles clicking. You can't kill me, he rasps. You kill me, you kill yourself. The pool ripples again. This time, the reflection staring up isn't Rachel. It's you, but not the you above water. This one smiles and whispers, perfectly synchronized with Clark. Welcome home. The reflection's smile widens until the water distorts around it, rippling outward in jagged rings. You stumble back, almost tripping over your own boots, but Clark doesn't press. He just stands there in that half-human, half-insect body, wings quivering like they're savoring your fear. See, he whispers, voice layered with that awful clicking. She already knows you. The pool settles, and for a moment the water is glass again. Your reflection looks back at you, this time normal, except the eyes. Too wide, too bright, watching, waiting. You force yourself to raise the pickaxe again. If you're part of her, then killing you weakens her. Right. Clark chuckles, wet and sharp. That's the funny thing about a hive. You don't kill it by cutting one thread. You only tangle yourself deeper. The welts on your arm burn hotter, swelling with every word. You yank up your sleeve. They're no longer just bumps. They're budding, tiny black nodes pushing up beneath the skin, pulsing with each heartbeat. You choke on bile. Clark sees, and his grin stretches farther than human skin should allow. Almost ready. The forest rustles behind you. A low hum builds, vibrating the air until you realize it's not the wind. It's wings. The swarm is near. Hundreds, maybe thousands, and they're closing in. You turn back to Clark. Why me? His mandibles twitch. Because you listened. The others screamed. You listened. History claws into your brain again. An anchor, a last defense. You think of the Tunguska event, 1908. A blast so massive it flattened 80 million trees, but left no crater. Historians still debate if it was a meteor, comet, or something stranger. Survivors claim the sky split open with fire, then silence. No one ever explained why the ground beneath remained untouched, like something had passed through instead of striking. You look at Clark, at the pool, at your arm, and you wonder if maybe that wasn't the sky at all. Maybe it was a hive waking up. The humming grows louder, pressing on your chest like a weight. The trees around the clearing sway, though the air is still. Faces glint between trunks, glassy and patient. Clark steps toward you, dripping, wings flexing. Don't run. Running only makes it hurt. His hand, or what used to be a hand, reaches for your arm. Long fingers twitch, claws glinting. And for one moment, against every survival instinct, you let him touch the welts. Pain sears through you, electric, ripping a scream from your lungs. Your vision fractures. The pool blurs. And in the haze, you see her. The queen. Not a single body, but 1,000 faces fused together, shifting in and out of one another like oil on water. Eyes blinking in unison, mouths opening, closing, whispering words you can almost understand. She's inside you. Clark's voice slides into your ear. Breathe. Let her in. Your knees buckle. The pickaxe slips from your grip. The pool ripples again, and your reflection steps free from the water, wet, smiling, glassy-eyed. It stands in front of you now. A second you. And it whispers, "Stop fighting. You're already mine." Your double stands inches from you, dripping, smiling. Its eyes are glassy, but bright, too bright. They gleam like lanterns in the dark, reflecting every twitch of fear rippling through your body. It raises a hand, not claws, not talons, your hand. Scar on the knuckle, calluses from the axe handle, a perfect replica. And when it touches your chest, warmth floods your body. Not comforting warmth, consuming warmth. Like a fire beneath your skin, spreading outward. The welts on your arm throb in unison, glowing faintly through your sleeve. You stagger back, gasping, but the double follows step for step. Its smile doesn't falter. Clark watches, head tilted, wings twitching with a quiet, rhythmic hum. There it is, first contact. You choke on the words. I'm not, you can't make me. The double tilts its head exactly as Clark does, like a puppet sharing the same string. We're not making you. We're remembering you. Your vision blurs. The forest around you sways like water. The hum of the swarm rises, blending into a drone that drills into your skull. And in the middle of the sound, you hear whispers. Your voice. Rachel's, John's, Clark's, all woven together, repeating fragments of thought you recognize. Memories spilled out and rearranged. Don't leave me. Run. It's inside me. You listened. Each one twists your insides tighter. Desperate, you bend, snatch up the pickaxe and swing. The blade cuts through the double's chest. Black fluid bursts out, splattering your clothes. But it doesn't fall. It just looks down at the wound, then back up at you, still smiling. Its mouth opens wide, unhinging, and in your own voice it whispers. See, you can't even kill yourself. You stumble back, nearly falling into the pool. Clark steps closer, mandibles twitching. Don't you get it yet? This isn't invasion. It's inheritance. The pool ripples, and new reflections bloom. Faces you don't know. Strangers, generations deep. Some in ranger uniforms, others in clothing centuries old. All staring, all smiling. And you realize you're not the first. You were never the first. History grips you again. This time, the 1518 dancing plague of Strasbourg. Dozens of people danced for days, unable to stop, until they collapsed from exhaustion. Historians still debate whether it was mass hysteria, ergot poisoning, or something darker. You remember reading one fringe account suggesting it wasn't hysteria at all. It was mimicry, something moving them, one by one, until the town was full of doubles. The welts on your arm twitch like they're laughing. The double reaches for your face, dripping fluid onto your boots. Its hand hovers inches from your cheek. The hum in your skull swells until your teeth ache. Breathe, it whispers, your own lips forming the word. Let go. You grip the pickaxe tighter. It's useless, you know that, but it's all you have. Your choice is narrow, submit or resist. But then the forest itself shifts. A roar tears through the trees, an engine human loud. Headlights slash across the clearing. A truck. Not black vans this time, but a battered ranger pickup, tires grinding gravel. The double pauses. Clark hisses, wings twitching violently. And for the first time, you see fear in his stolen face. The ranger pickup growls into the clearing, its headlights carving hard lines across the pool and your dripping double. For a second, you can't believe what you're seeing. An ordinary, dented truck with mud-caked tires, out of place in this nightmare like a relic of sanity. The engine cuts off. The hum of the swarm surges, pressing at the edges of the light, restless. The driver's door creaks open, and out steps a man in a ranger uniform. Hat brim low, flashlight slung at his belt. For a heartbeat, you think it's Clark again, before remembering Clark's twisted wings and too-wide smile still standing across the water. This man is older, his face lined, tired. His name tag glints in the light. Holt. He squints at you, then at Clark, then at your double. His mouth sets in a grim line. So it's true, he mutters. Still breeding here. You stagger forward, voice raw. Help me, please, it's in me. Holt raises a hand, stopping you cold. Don't move, don't come closer. There's no warmth in his tone, just iron certainty. Clark laughs, mandibles clicking. Late as always, Holt. They've already started the bloom. Holt's eyes narrow. Bloom hasn't taken yet. He pulls something from the truck bed, a case, battered but heavy. He flips it open. Inside rests a weapon you've never seen before. Not a rifle, not any standard issue. Tubes run along the barrel, humming faintly, glass canisters filled with liquid glowing an unnatural blue. Your stomach knots. Whatever this is, it's meant for things that aren't human. The welts on your arm burn hotter, throbbing in sync with the swarm's wings. The double smiles wider, stepping closer, dripping. "Stop it," you shout, swinging the pickaxe wildly. "Just kill me if you have to." Holt doesn't raise the weapon yet. His gaze locks on you, cold and assessing. "What's your name?" You stammer it out. He nods once, like cataloging an artifact. "All right, then listen, you've got one chance. Don't look at her reflection again. Don't answer when it speaks. Fight until I tell you to stop. Understand?" Your breath shudders. "The queen's inside me." Holt interrupts, voice sharp. "Not yet, she's testing. If she'd taken you fully, you wouldn't be asking me for help. You'd be smiling. You want to collapse with relief, but the welts pulse angrily as if mocking his words. Clark hisses, stepping closer to the pool. You think you can stop her with toys. You've been failing for decades. Holt shoulders the weapon, the tubes hissing as pressure builds. "Maybe, but I only need to buy time." The pool ripples violently. Faces surge to the surface. Rachel, John, strangers, all opening their mouths in perfect sync. A single whisper spills out, layered and endless. "You're already ours." The double lunges at you. You swing the pickaxe with everything you have, the blade smashing through its chest. It stumbles but doesn't fall, still smiling even as black fluid pours out. Holt fires. A blast of blue arcs across the clearing, slamming into the double. It convulses, body jerking unnaturally before collapsing into the pool. Steam rises where it sinks, the water boiling. Clark shrieks, wings thrashing. The swarm surges at the tree line, wings drumming like thunder. Holt shouts over the noise, "Get behind me, now." You stagger to his side, clutching your burning arm. The pool bubbles, the forest hums, and Clark spreads his wings wide. And you realize the queen is done testing. She's coming through. The pool erupts. Water spews upward in a geyser of black and silver, faces writhing in the spray. The hum of the swarm crescendos into a deafening roar. Branches shake, trunks groan, and the forest itself feels like it's bowing to something vast, an ancient pushing through. Clark spreads his arms wide, wings cracking fully open, mandibles clattering in ecstasy. She rises. Holt braces the strange rifle against his shoulder, tubes glowing brighter. He growls, "Not if I can help it." He fires. Blue arcs rip through the air, slamming into Clark's chest. The blast tears half his torso away in a spray of sizzling fluid. But Clark doesn't fall. He staggers, laughing, black ichor hissing on the ground where it lands. You never learn, Holt. The welts on your arm ignite with pain, so sharp you collapse to your knees. Veins spiderweb outward from them now, glowing faintly beneath your skin. It's not infection, it's illumination, a living circuitry connecting you to the hive. You scream. The pool answers. A hand breaches the surface, long, pale, too many joints. Then another. Then a face, shifting in and out of human familiarity, features melting like wax. Dozens of voices rise together. Child of mine. Stop resisting. Your vision fractures. The forest sways like it's underwater. Holt's voice sounds far away. Stay with me, don't let her in. History claws at your collapsing mind. 1872, the Mary Celeste found adrift with no crew aboard. Food still on the table. Cargo untouched. Historians still debate whether it was mutiny, piracy, or storm. But what if the crew never left? What if they were taken, faces borrowed, bodies hollowed, until only silence remained? The welts pulse in answer, hungry. Holt fires again, shot after shot, glowing liquid hissing as it strikes the pool. The queen shrieks, a sound not heard by ears but by bone, vibrating through marrow. Trees split. Stones crack. Clark lurches toward you, half his body gone but still smiling. Don't fight it. It hurts less if you don't fight. You crawl backward, nails clawing dirt. The pickaxe lies just out of reach. The queen's face pushes higher from the pool, eyes everywhere, mouths opening in grotesque harmony. Your reflection flickers across its surface, smiling, arms outstretched. And for a heartbeat, you feel yourself slipping. The welts open, not bleeding but blooming, tiny filaments unfurling, reaching outward like roots. No, Holt bellows. He shoves something into your hand, a small metal canister, glowing faintly blue like the rifle's tubes. Last chance. If she takes you, crack it open. Burn yourself out before she finishes. The queen's many mouths whisper in unison, soft and sweet. Don't listen to him. You're already mine. The swarm surges forward, blotting out the sky. Holt fires wildly, blue arcs tearing holes in the black storm. But there are too many. The ground quakes as the queen rises higher, and Clark leans close, his voice giddy with triumph. You're not you anymore. You're us. The clearing convulses with movement. The swarm crashes in from every angle, a black tide blotting out sky and tree alike. Holt's rifle spits arcs of blue, vaporizing clusters midair. But for every one that falls, 10 more rise. The queen pushes higher from the pool, her form both solid and liquid, a nightmare tapestry of stolen faces. Rachel's eyes blink beside John's empty grin. Clark's jawline stretches and splits, and your own smile flickers across the surface, patient and certain. The welts on your arm burst open, not with blood, with light. Tendrils of pale filament spill out, writhing like roots searching for soil. They latch onto your skin, your clothes, the earth beneath. You scream, tearing at them, but they only burrow deeper. Clark stumbles closer, half his body dissolved, but still laughing through mandibles slick with ichor. See, you're blooming, you're becoming. Isn't it beautiful? You grab the pickaxe, swing wild. The blade smashes through his skull. Black fluid sprays across your hands. He collapses, and then begins to rise again, twitching, smiling still. The queen's voices weave through your mind like silk. Don't fight. You're ours. You always were. Your body shakes. You want to surrender to let the warmth drown you. It would be easier. No more fear, no more hunger, no more running. Just the hive, endless and eternal. But Holt's shout cuts through the haze. Hey, stay with me. He fires again, blast after blast. The weapon screams, tubes glowing dangerously hot. Steam bursts from the barrel. The forest floor burns blue where the shots land. He looks at you, really looks, through the swarm and the ruin. His eyes are human, weathered, desperate. Don't give her the satisfaction. If you go on your terms. Do it. Your fingers close around the canister he shoved into your palm. Its glow thrums against your skin, resonating with the filaments in your arm. One crack, and it will rupture. One crack, and everything ends. The queen leans closer from the pool, mouth stretching wide, your reflection at her center smiling with unbearable calm. You won't do it. You're already mine. Your double steps out of the water again, dripping, radiant, its wounds from Holt's blasts knitting closed. It takes your hand gently, like a lover, guiding the canister toward the ground. Let's go home, it whispers in your own voice. History claws for one final anchor in your unraveling mind. The lost colony of Roanoke, 1587. The word Croatan carved into a post. Historians still debate whether they fled, starved, or joined native tribes. But what if the truth was simpler? What if they didn't leave at all? What if they just changed? Your welts burn like fire. Your double's grip is soft. Holt screams your name one last time. And you. The sound softens now. The roaring wings recede. The forest exhales. The clearing dissolves into something weightless. Your pulse slows, each beat stretching into silence. You're safe. That's what you tell yourself anyway. Safe in the cabin, safe in the clearing, safe with only your own breath in your ears. The kind of safety that feels more like forgetting. The faces fade from the trees. The pool's surface stills. The swarm pulls back into the sky, vanishing as though it never was. And yet you feel them, watching from behind your eyelids, breathing with you, smiling when you smile, but it's fine. Really, because sometimes it's easier to let shadows linger in corners. Sometimes it's easier not to ask why your reflection doesn't quite move with you. Sometimes it's easier not to scratch at the welts that itch when the moon rises. For now, the lights are low. The fan hums gently. The room is quiet, and you're safe. At least until you start to dream. Because dreams are where she waits best. She doesn't need to knock. She doesn't need to crawl. She only needs you to close your eyes. And maybe tonight, when you do, you'll see the faces again. Maybe you'll see Clark smiling. Maybe you'll see Rachel calling your name. Or maybe, just maybe, you'll see yourself, standing in the shadows, smiling, waiting, sweet dreams.